The bar smelled like smoke and old wood and desperation. Lena had stopped noticing it years ago, but sometimes when a new rogue stumbled through the hidden door, she caught the way their shoulders dropped, the way their eyes went soft with something close to relief. That smell meant safety. It meant nobody here would ask questions they did not want to answer. She wiped down the counter for the third time that hour, her hands moving in circles that had become automatic. The basement stretched out before her, low-ceilinged and dim, lit by candles stuck in bottles and a handful of weak bulbs strung along exposed beams. Mismatched tables filled the space, chairs that did not match. Everything here had been scavenged, traded, or given by someone who understood what it meant to have nothing. Iris emerged from the back room carrying a tray of bread rolls, her gray hair pulled tight in its usual bun. She set the tray down and gave Lena a look that said she'd been working too long again. "You should eat something," Iris said. Her voice carried the kind of authority that came from 6 decades of surviving things most people could not imagine. "I ate earlier," Lena lied. Iris made a sound that might have been a laugh or might have been disapproval. Hard to tell with her. "You are a terrible liar, Ren." Ren. The name still felt strange sometimes, even after 5 years. But that was the rule here. No real names, no histories that could be traced. The rogues who came through that door left their pasts outside, and Lena had been the first to follow that rule. The door at the top of the stairs creaked. Both women looked up. 3 figures descended, 2 men and a woman, all carrying the particular tension that marked them as newly displaced. The woman had a black eye. One of the men limped. Lena moved toward them before they reached the bottom step. "Sit anywhere you want," she said, keeping her voice low and steady. "Food is coming. Nobody asks for payment tonight." The woman's eyes filled. She did not cry, but her throat worked as she swallowed whatever words she might have said. They found a table near the back wall. Iris was already moving, bringing water and bread and the stew that had been simmering since morning. This was why the bar existed. This moment, repeated over and over, Finn would have understood. The thought of her brother came the way it always did, sharp and sudden, like a blade between her ribs. 5 years since the Alpha King had executed him in the Judgment Court. Shifter law operated outside human jurisdiction. Ancient traditions preserved in hidden stone courtyards, even as the modern city roared on above. No cameras, no recordings. Just witnesses who carried the truth like a scar. 5 years since Lena had run instead of fighting, had disappeared into the underground network of rogues, and rebuilt herself into someone who could survive. She pressed her palm flat against the counter and breathed until the ache dulled to something manageable. Finn had died protecting rogue children from a Pax hunting party. The official report had called it treason. The witnesses who had been there said he had stood between armed warriors and 6 terrified pups, and he had not moved even when they told him to step aside. The Alpha King had killed him personally. Golden eyes and no mercy. That was what the other rogues had told her. She had not been there to see it. By the time they dragged Finn to the court, Lena had already been running. Iris touched her shoulder, pulling her back to the present. "More coming," she said quietly. Lena looked toward the stairs. Another figure descended, this one alone. Tall, broad-shouldered, moving with a precision that set off every instinct she had spent 5 years honing. He reached the bottom step and paused, his eyes adjusting to the dim light. And then his gaze found hers. The world stopped. It was not a metaphor. It was not poetic exaggeration. The world actually stopped, and Lena felt something inside her chest crack open like a fault line, spilling heat and light and a pull so strong she had to grip the counter to keep from moving toward him. Her breath caught. Her heart stuttered and then slammed against her ribs hard enough to hurt. Every nerve in her body lit up at once, screaming recognition at something she had never felt before and did not understand. Across the room, the stranger went rigid. His hand shot out to brace against the wall, his knuckles white, his jaw clenched. For a moment, just a moment, his eyes flashed with something that looked like panic. Then he schooled his expression into neutrality and walked toward the bar. Lena forced herself to breathe, forced her hands to release the counter. What the hell was that? He sat down 3 stools away from where she stood, deliberately leaving space between them. His scent hit her then, and she nearly gasped. Pine and winter wind, and something darker, something that reminded her of storms building on the horizon. It was the kind of scent that marked him as alpha, strong and unmistakable. But there was an edge to it that made the hair on the back of her neck stand up. "What can I get you?" Her voice came out steadier than she felt. He did not look at her directly. His gaze stayed fixed on the bottles behind the bar. "Whiskey, whatever you have." She poured 2 fingers into a glass and set it in front of him. His hands were scarred. She noticed that, noticed the way he held himself like someone who had spent years expecting attacks from every direction. "You are new," she said. It was not a question. "Passing through. Everyone here is passing through." She leaned against the counter, studying him. "The question is whether you are passing through safely or running from something that is going to follow you." His mouth twitched. Almost a smile. The second one. Honest, she had not expected that. "As long as whatever is following you does not bring trouble to my door, you can stay as long as you need." "Your door?" "My bar, my rules." She gestured around the space. "No fights, no questions about where people came from. You want food or a place to sleep, you work for it. Cleaning, repairs, whatever needs doing. We take care of each other here." He finally looked at her then, and the full force of his attention felt like standing too close to a fire. His eyes were dark in the candlelight, but she caught a flash of gold when the light shifted. Alpha eyes. Definitely alpha. "Fair terms," he said. "What should I call you?" A pause. Then, Dane. Not his real name. She could tell. But then Wren was not her real name either, so she had no room to judge. "I am Wren," she said. "The woman with the gray hair is Iris. She runs things when I am not here. You cause problems for her, you answer to me." "Understood." He drank his whiskey in silence. Lena moved away to help Iris serve the new arrivals, but she felt his gaze following her. It should have made her uncomfortable. Instead, it made her skin feel too tight, made her aware of every movement she made. Iris appeared at her elbow while Lena was refilling water glasses. "That one is different," Iris murmured, her voice barely audible. "Careful." "I know. Do you?" Iris glanced toward where Dane sat, still nursing his drink. "He is not rogue, not really, and he is alpha. Strong one, too." "I noticed." "Then you notice he is watching you, like he is trying to solve a problem he did not expect to have." Lena had noticed. She just did not know what to do about it. When she returned to the bar, Dane was reaching into his jacket. He pulled out a small leather pouch and extracted a coin, setting it on the counter. Lena stared at it. Gold. Old gold with markings she recognized from history books. The kind of coin that belonged in a museum, not in the pocket of a rogue passing through. "Where did you get this?" The question came out sharper than she intended. Dane looked down at the coin, and something like surprise crossed his face. Then, frustration. "Wrong pocket," he muttered. He reached for the coin, but Lena was faster. She picked it up, turning it over in her palm. The weight of it alone was worth more than she made in a month. "This is too much." "Keep it. I do not take charity. Then consider it payment for discretion." His voice had gone flat. "I would prefer word not spread about what I carry." She set the coin down between them, sliding it back toward him. "I would prefer my customers not flash enough gold to get themselves killed the moment they step outside. Use regular money or work off your tab like everyone else." For a long moment, they stared at each other. Then he took the coin back and pulled out a crumpled bill instead, something normal and worn and anonymous. "Better? Better?" He finished his drink and stood. The movement brought him closer, and that pull in her chest intensified until she had to lock her knees to keep from swaying toward him. This was wrong. This feeling, whatever it was, made no sense. "I will be back," he said. "Why?" The question seemed to catch him off guard. His eyes met hers, and for just a second she saw something raw and uncertain in his expression. Then it was gone. "Because I have nowhere else to go." He left. Lena stood at the bar, her heart still racing, her hands trembling slightly as she collected the empty glass. Across the room, Iris was watching her with an expression Lena could not read. The door at the top of the stairs opened and closed. Dane was gone. Lena told herself she was relieved, told herself that whatever that had been, that impossible pull, that sense of recognition, it meant nothing. He was just another rogue, just another person passing through. But when dawn came and she finally locked the bar for the night, she found herself looking toward the stairs, wondering if he would actually come back, wondering why the thought of him not coming back made her chest ache. She climbed the stairs and stepped out into the cold morning air. The industrial district was quiet at this hour, nothing but empty warehouses and broken streetlights. Safe, anonymous, exactly what she needed. Lena locked the hidden door and started walking toward the room she rented 6 blocks away. But she could still smell pine and winter wind, could still feel that pull, like a hook lodged beneath her sternum, pointing back toward the bar, toward him. 3 weeks, 21 nights, 3 weeks, 21 nights of the stranger who called himself Dane, sitting in the same corner, nursing the same drink, watching her with an intensity that should have felt threatening, but instead felt like gravity. Lena told herself she did not notice, told herself it did not matter that he arrived every night just after sunset and stayed until the first hint of dawn touched the sky. Told herself the way her pulse jumped when she heard his footsteps on the stairs meant nothing. She was a very bad liar, even to herself. Tonight, the bar was fuller than usual. 8 rogues scattered across the tables, some eating, some just sitting in the safety of walls that would not judge them. Lena moved between them, refilling glasses, bringing bread, listening to the fragments of stories they were willing to share. Dane sat in his corner, always the same corner, the one with a clear view of both exits and the stairs. His posture was too controlled, too aware. She had watched enough dangerous people to recognize someone trained for combat, and everything about the way Dane held himself screamed military discipline. Iris appeared at her elbow, drying a glass with a rag that had seen better days. 3 weeks, the older woman said quietly. Same seat, same routine. Never talks to anyone but you. He keeps to himself. That is allowed. That man is no more a regular rogue than I am a dancer. Iris set the glass down with more force than necessary. I have been around alphas my whole life, Ren. That one? He is the strongest I have ever seen. And he is hiding something. Lena already knew that. She had spent 3 weeks trying to figure out what. As long as he follows the rules, it does not matter. Does it not? Iris gave her a long look. Because the way you watch him suggests it matters quite a bit. Heat crawled up Lena's neck. I watch everyone. It is my job to know who is in my bar. Iris made that sound again. The one halfway between amusement and concern. Keep telling yourself that, child. She moved away before Lena could respond. Lena grabbed a bottle of whiskey and crossed to Dane's table. She had avoided direct confrontation for 3 weeks, but Iris was right. This pattern could not continue without understanding what it meant. She set the bottle down in front of him. Why do you keep coming back? He looked up, and those almost golden eyes caught the candlelight. I paid for the drink. You barely touched the drink. She pulled out the chair across from him and sat without waiting for invitation. Every night you sit here. You do not talk to anyone. You do not eat much. You just watch. So I'm asking again. Why? A muscle in his jaw tightened. For a moment, she thought he would not answer. Then he said, It reminds me of something I lost. What? Home. The word came out rough, like it hurt to say. Before everything went wrong, there was a place like this, where people looked out for each other. The honesty in his voice surprised her. She leaned back in her chair, studying him. What happened to it? War, politics, the usual things that destroy good places. He reached for his glass, fingers curling around it, but not lifting. I survived. Most others did not. Lena understood that kind of loss. Understood it in her bones. Is that why you are Rogue? Among other reasons. The kind of reasons that involve people with guns coming through my door looking for you? No. His eyes met hers directly. My past is bloody, but it does not chase me. Not anymore. She wanted to believe him. That was the dangerous part. 3 weeks of watching him, and she had not seen anything that suggested threat. Just a man who sat alone and seemed content to exist in a space where no one asked him to be anything other than present. Why do you do this? He asked, gesturing to the room around them. You risk everything running this place. The Alpha King's laws are clear about harboring rogues. If they find you, the punishment is death. They have not found me yet. That is not an answer. Lena's hands curled into fists beneath the table. She did not talk about this, did not explain herself to anyone. But something about the way he looked at her, like he actually wanted to understand rather than judge, made the words come anyway. 5 years ago, my brother was executed, she said. Her voice stayed steady through sheer force of will. The Alpha King killed him in the judgment court, called it treason. Dane went very still. He was protecting children, rogue children that a Pax hunting party wanted to slaughter for sport. He stood between them and 6 terrified pups, and he would not move. The old rage burned in her chest, familiar as breathing. So they dragged him to the capital's judgment court, and the Alpha King executed him personally. No human trial, no modern mercy, just golden eyes and the king's ceremonial blade. No cameras, no recordings. The pack witnessed, and that was the law. You were there? The question came out carefully, like he was walking through a minefield. No. I ran before they could take me too. Other rogues who witnessed it told me later. She forced herself to meet his gaze. They said my brother died screaming for someone to protect his sister. That the king did not even hesitate. The silence stretched between them. Dane's face had gone blank, all expression wiped away. His knuckles were white where they gripped the glass. The system is broken, Lena continued. It calls good people criminals and lets monsters wear crowns. Someone has to help the ones who fall through the cracks. So I do, even though it could get you killed. Especially because of that. She stood, the chair scraping against the floor. My brother died trying to save people. The least I can do is finish what he started. She walked away before he could respond, before the burning behind her eyes could turn into something more. She had not cried over Finn in 3 years. She was not about to start now in front of a stranger, even one who made her chest ache with impossible recognition. The night wore on. Rogues came and went. Lena served drinks and food and tried not to notice the way Dane sat motionless in his corner, staring at nothing. Near dawn, when only 2 rogues remained and both were half asleep at their tables, he finally stood. Lena was wiping down the bar. She did not look up when he approached. I am sorry, he said quietly, about your brother. Everyone is sorry. Sorry does not bring him back. No. Another pause. What was his name? The question caught her off guard. In 5 years, no one had asked. Finn, she said. Finn Carver. Something changed in Dane's expression. A flash of what might have been horror, quickly buried. He opened his mouth, closed it, then finally said, He sounds like he was brave. He was. She set the rag down and finally looked at him. He was the best person I knew. And the system murdered him for being good. Dane's hand lifted, like he wanted to reach for her, then dropped. If I could change what happened, I would. But you cannot. No one can. She turned away. Go home, Dane, or wherever you go when you leave here. She heard him leave, heard his footsteps on the stairs, the door opening and closing. Only then did she let herself sag against the counter, exhaustion crashing over her like a wave. Iris emerged from the back room. You told him. Part of it. He looked like you had gutted him. Good. But even as Lena said it, she knew it was not true. She did not want Dane to hurt. She wanted him to understand. Those were different things. The next night, he came back, and the night after that. But something had shifted. He still sat in his corner, still watched, but now there was a weight to his attention that had not been there before. Like he was carrying something heavy and trying to figure out where to set it down. By the end of the week, Lena noticed other things too. The way rogues instinctively lowered their eyes when passing his table. The way he held himself like someone used to command, even when he was trying to blend in. The educated precision of his speech, the calluses on his hands that spoke of weapons training, not labor. He is not just an alpha, she told Iris one night while Dane was in the bathroom. He is military. High-ranking, if I had to guess. I know. Then why do you let him stay? Iris looked at her with something like pity. Because whatever he is, whatever he was, he is not a threat to you, and you need to figure out why that is. Before Lena could ask what that meant, Dane returned. He caught her looking and raised an eyebrow in silent question. She turned away, pulse hammering. 3 weeks of this. 3 weeks of impossible tension and unspoken questions and a pull she could not explain. It had to stop. She had to know who he really was, what he really wanted, because this middle ground was tearing her apart. But when she turned to confront him again, he was already standing, already moving toward the exit. He paused at the bottom of the stairs and looked back at her. "Thank you," he said, "for telling me about Finn, for trusting me with that." Then he was gone, and Lena was left standing in her bar, wondering when she had started trusting him at all. The man who walked through the door on the 4th week had violence written into every line of his body. Lena knew trouble when she saw it, and this rogue was trouble distilled into human form. He was massive, shoulders broad enough to fill doorways, with scars that spoke of fights won through brutality rather than skill. His scent hit the room like a hammer, all aggression and barely controlled rage. The 2 rogues sitting near the entrance immediately stood and moved to tables farther away. Iris caught Lena's eye from across the room. The older woman's hand moved to her hip, where Lena knew she kept a knife tucked into her belt. "Evening," Lena said, keeping her voice level. "Find a seat. Food will be ready in 10 minutes. The newcomer swept his gaze across the space, cataloging exits and occupants with the practiced efficiency of a predator. When his eyes landed on Dane in the corner, something shifted in his expression. Recognition, maybe, or challenge. He chose a table directly in Dane's line of sight and sat with his back to the wall. "Whiskey," he called out. "The expensive kind." "We have one kind," Lena said. "You drink it, or you do not." A slow smile spread across his face. Mouthy for someone serving criminals in a basement. Mouthy for someone who runs an establishment with rules. You want to stay, you follow them. First one is respect. The smile widened. "I like you. What is your name?" "Ren. What is yours?" "Malcolm." He leaned back in his chair, still watching Dane. "That one in the corner. He a friend of yours?" "Everyone here is a customer. That is all." "Interesting." Malcolm's attention swung back to her. "Because he is watching you, like you are considerably more than that." Lena poured the whiskey and crossed to his table, setting the glass down with controlled force. "Drink, eat. Keep your observations to yourself." She returned to the bar, but the tension in the room had shifted. Malcolm was not just violent. He was intelligent, the kind of dangerous that thought before it struck. And he had focused on Dane like a wolf that had scented weakness. An hour passed. Malcolm drank steadily, but showed no signs of intoxication. His gaze kept drifting to Dane's corner, assessing, calculating. Dane, for his part, had gone utterly still, his body language shifting into something that looked almost military. Then Malcolm stood and walked to the bar. "Your girl there," he said, nodding toward where Iris was clearing tables. "She looks like she could use a break. Why do you not serve me personally?" "Iris is not a girl. She is co-owner of this establishment." Lena met his eyes directly. "And I do not take orders from customers. Not an order, a request." His hand shot out, faster than she expected, closing around her wrist. From someone who could make things very difficult for you. The room went silent. Every rogue turned to watch. Iris started moving toward them. Then Dane stood. He did not rush, did not shout. He simply rose from his chair, and the entire atmosphere changed. It was like watching a storm gather, all that barely restrained power suddenly filling the space with pressure that made Lena's ears pop. Let her go. Dane's voice was quiet, absolutely calm, and more terrifying than any shout could have been. Malcolm's grip tightened on Lena's wrist. This is not your business, friend. I am not your friend. Dane moved closer, each step deliberate. And you will release her now. The air between them crackled with tension. Lena felt it then, that wash of power that every shifter recognized. Alpha command, bleeding through despite Dane's obvious attempt to contain it. It slammed into Malcolm like a physical blow, and his hand spasmed open. Malcolm staggered back, his eyes going wide. You are Alpha. Yes. High rank. It was not a question. Malcolm was staring at Dane like he had just recognized something impossible. Who the hell are you? Someone you do not want to challenge. Dane positioned himself between Malcolm and Lena, his shoulders squared. Leave. Now. For a moment, Lena thought Malcolm would fight. His body tensed, his hands curling into fists. But that alpha presence radiating from Dane was overwhelming, pressing down on everyone in the room like a weight. Even Lena felt it, that instinctive pull to submit, to obey. Malcolm backed toward the stairs, his jaw tight with suppressed rage. This is not finished, he said, looking at Lena rather than Dane. You are harboring someone dangerous, little bartender, someone way above your pay grade. He left. The door at the top of the stairs slammed with force that rattled the bottles behind the bar. Lena rounded on Dane. What was that? He looked down at her, and some of that terrible power was still bleeding through his control. His eyes had gone fully gold, bright in the dim light. Are you hurt? Answer my question. What are you? The gold faded slowly. Dane glanced around the room at the rogues who were still watching, then back to Lena. Not here. She grabbed his wrist and pulled him toward the storage room in the back, ignoring Iris's concerned expression. Once the door closed behind them, she crossed her arms and waited. Dane exhaled slowly, running a hand through his hair. I told you I was running from my past. You did not tell me you were Alpha. You definitely did not tell me you were high-ranking Alpha. She studied his face, seeing him clearly for the first time. The way he held himself, the scars, the educated speech and military precision. What pack did you lead? I did not lead a pack. He met her eyes. I lost my position in a war. Internal politics, betrayal, the kind of thing that happens when power changes hands. I survived. Most of my people did not. It could be true. Political upheaval among shifters was brutal, and alphas on the losing side rarely kept their lives, let alone their freedom. But something in the way he said it felt incomplete. Show me, she said suddenly. What? Your scars. You said you survived a war. She gestured to him. Prove it. For a long moment, he just looked at her. Then, slowly, he shrugged out of his jacket and pulled his shirt over his head. Lena's breath caught. His torso was covered in scars, a roadmap of violence survived, claw marks across his ribs, what looked like a blade wound that had barely missed his heart, burns along his left shoulder that spoke of fire or silver. I did not lie about the war, he said quietly. She stepped closer, her hand lifting before she could stop herself. Her fingers traced a particularly nasty scar that ran from his collarbone to his sternum. His skin was warm under her touch, and she felt him go rigid. What happened here? Her voice came out softer than intended. Ambush. 3 against 1. He was barely breathing. I killed 2 before the third got his blade through my guard. And the third? Dead. She should step back, should put distance between them. Instead, she found herself moving closer, close enough to feel the heat radiating from him. That impossible pull was back, stronger than ever, making her skin feel electric. Why do you keep coming here? She whispered. The truth this time. His hand came up to cover hers where it rested against his chest. Because when I am here, I feel like I could be someone better than who I was. The honesty in his words hit her like a blow. She tilted her head back to look at him properly and found him staring at her with an intensity that stole her breath. I do not trust alphas, she said. My brother died because one decided his life meant nothing. I know. The Alpha King executed him without trial, without mercy. Her other hand came up to press against his chest, feeling his heartbeat thunder beneath her palm. You asked me his name once. Finn Carver. Dane's entire body went rigid. For a moment he looked like he had taken a physical blow, like the name paired with the story had finally snapped something into place. Finn Carver, he echoed, the words barely audible. Theron's instincts screamed at him to drop the disguise, to tell her everything before she drew the worst conclusions. But the bar was full of rogues and secrets, and he had learned the hard way that truth spoken without proof could become a weapon in someone else's hands. He needed air. He needed a second to keep from shattering. Yes. She watched his reaction, unsettled by the raw panic he could not quite hide. Did you know him? No. He pulled away from her, grabbing his shirt with shaking hands. I did not. He stopped, unable to finish whatever he had been about to say. Dane, I need air. He shoved his arms through the sleeves and moved toward the door. The main room exploded with sound, shouting, breaking glass. Lena ran out of the storage room to find Malcolm had returned and he had brought friends. 5 rogues, all radiating the same controlled violence as their leader. This was not a tantrum anymore. It was a plan, force, witnesses, leverage. Time to pay up, Malcolm said, his smile sharp as broken glass. You want to keep operating, you pay us for protection, monthly, starting now. Iris stood behind the bar, knife in hand, but they were outnumbered and everyone knew it. Then Dane stepped out of the storage room. He did not say anything, did not need to. The alpha presence that had leaked earlier now flooded the room like a tide, crushing and absolute. Every rogue except Malcolm dropped to their knees instinctively, their bodies responding to power they could not resist. Malcolm himself swayed but remained standing. You are going to regret this, he snarled. Leave. Dane's voice carried command that made the walls shake. Now! Malcolm lunged. It was pure rage, no strategy. Dane sidestepped the attack and struck, his movements precise and devastating. Military training, Lena realized. Elite combat skills that spoke of formal instruction at the highest levels. The fight lasted less than a minute. Malcolm hit the floor, blood streaming from his broken nose, his arm twisted at an angle that made Lena wince. The other rogues scrambled for the stairs. Malcolm staggered to his feet, cradling his arm. You are going to wish you killed me, he spat. I will find out who you are. I will... Run, Dane said softly. While you still can. Malcolm ran. Silence fell over the bar. The remaining customers stared at Dane like he had just revealed himself to be something mythical. Iris looked pale, but steady. Lena walked up to Dane and grabbed his jacket, forcing him to look at her. Who the hell are you really? His golden eyes met hers. Full of anguish she did not understand. Someone who has made mistakes I cannot fix, he said. Someone who does not deserve your trust, but will do everything in my power to keep you safe anyway. That is not an answer. It is the only one I can give you. He pulled away gently. I am sorry, Ren, for all of it. He left before she could stop him, disappearing up the stairs into the pre-dawn darkness. Lena stood in her bar, her wrist still aching from Malcolm's grip, her chest aching from something she could not name. Iris appeared at her side. That man just revealed himself as someone powerful caring about you. That makes you a target. I know. Do you? Iris touched her shoulder. Because I think you are starting to care about him too. And that child might be the most dangerous thing of all. Lena did not deny it, could not deny it. Whatever Dane was hiding, whatever past he was running from, she wanted to understand it, wanted to help him carry it. That realization terrified her more than Malcolm's threats ever could. 4 days passed, and Dane did not return. On the first day, Lena told herself it meant nothing. He had said he was passing through. Maybe he had finally moved on. That was what rogues did. They survived and they moved, and they did not stay in one place long enough to leave roots. On the second day, her chest started to ache. A dull, persistent pain that sat beneath her sternum like a stone. She ignored it, kept working, served drinks and food, and pretended everything was normal, even as exhaustion dragged at her bones. By the third day, she could not sleep. Every time she closed her eyes, her body screamed that something was wrong, something was missing. Her hands trembled when she poured drinks. Her concentration splintered into fragments. The scent of pine and winter wind haunted her, phantom traces that made her turn around expecting to see him and finding only empty space. On the fourth day, Iris found her sitting on the floor of the storage room at dawn, her back against the wall, staring at nothing. "How long has this been happening?" Iris asked quietly. "I do not know what you mean." "The shaking, the exhaustion, the way you keep touching your chest like it hurts." Iris lowered herself to sit beside Lena, her old joints protesting the movement. "How long?" "Since he left." The admission came out barely above a whisper. Iris was quiet for a long moment. Then she said, "You have a mate bond, child." Lena's head snapped toward her. "That is impossible. I would know. I would have felt—" "You did feel it. The moment he walked through that door 4 weeks ago." Iris's expression was gentle but unyielding. "I saw your face, saw his. The bond hit you both like lightning." "No." But even as Lena said it, pieces were clicking into place. The pull. The way her body responded to his presence. The impossible recognition that had made no sense. Mate bonds are rare. They do not just happen. They do when the moon decides two souls are meant to find each other. Iris touched Lena's hand. "And by the intensity of what you are feeling right now, separated from him, you are bonded to someone very powerful. An alpha, certainly. Possibly more." Lena's breath came in short gasps. Mate bond. She was bonded to Dane, to a stranger who would not tell her his real name, who carried enough violence in his past to fill graveyards, who had disappeared 4 days ago and left her falling apart at the seams. "What do I do?" The question came out small and afraid, and she hated herself for it. "When he comes back, you talk to him. You figure out what this means together." Iris squeezed her hand. "If he comes back, he will." Lena said it with certainty she did not quite feel. "The bond affects him too. He has to be feeling this. Then pray he is stronger than you are right now. Because if he does not return soon, this is going to get worse before it gets better." Iris was right. By nightfall, Lena's hands shook so badly she could barely hold a glass. Her chest ached with every breath. Exhaustion pressed down on her like a weight, but sleep remained impossible. Her wolf, normally a quiet presence in the back of her mind, paced restlessly. The bar was nearly empty. 2 rogues sat in the corner, speaking in low voices. Iris moved through the space, cleaning tables, watching Lena with worried eyes. Then footsteps on the stairs. Lena felt him before she saw him. That pull in her chest surged, the pain receding slightly, replaced by warmth that flooded through her veins. She turned, and there he was. Dane looked as wrecked as she felt. Dark circles under his eyes, face drawn with exhaustion. But when his gaze found hers, something shifted in his expression. Relief so profound it was almost painful to witness. "You look terrible," she said. "You look worse." He descended the last few steps. "Can we talk?" "Iris, close up early," Lena called. Everyone out. The 2 rogues left without argument. Iris gave Lena a long look, then nodded and disappeared into the back room, leaving them alone. Dane moved toward her slowly, like approaching something wild that might bolt. "I am sorry I left. I needed time to think." "About what?" But Lena already knew. Could see it in the way he looked at her, in the tension that sang between them. "About this?" She pressed her hand to her chest. "About whatever this is that makes me feel like I am dying when you are not here?" His eyes widened. "You feel it too. Iris says it is a mate bond. The words felt strange in her mouth. She says that is why I have not been able to sleep, why my chest hurts, why I keep... She stopped, unable to finish. Why you keep what? Why I keep wanting you here, even though I do not trust you, even though I do not know who you really are. She laughed, the sound bitter. I have a mate bond with a stranger. That is what my life has become. Dane closed the distance between them in 3 strides. His hands came up to cup her face, and the moment he touched her, the pain in her chest eased to almost nothing. She gasped at the relief of it. I feel it too, he said quietly. Every moment I am away from you, it gets worse. 4 days, and I thought I would lose my mind from it. Then why did you leave? Because I am a coward. Because knowing what this is, what it means, terrifies me more than any battle I have ever fought. His thumbs traced circles against her cheekbones. You deserve better than what I can offer. Let me decide that. She reached up to cover his hands with hers. Tell me who you are, your real name, your real past. All of it. He opened his mouth to answer, and the door at the top of the stairs crashed open. 3 men in tactical gear descended, moving with military precision. They wore no insignia, but everything about them screamed royal guard. Elite soldiers who answered to only one authority. They did not rush in blindly. One stayed halfway up the stairs to watch the exit while the other 2 swept the room with quick, practiced scans, eyes on hands, on corners, on every rogue who might decide to test them. A sharp hand signal passed between them, silent and absolute. Only then did the lead guard stop 3 steps from the bottom, his gaze locking on Dane. His entire body went rigid. Then he dropped to one knee. Your Majesty, the guard said. We have been searching for you. The world tilted sideways. Your Majesty. Lena's hands fell away from Dane's face. She took a step back, then another, her mind refusing to process what she had just heard. What did he call you? Dane's expression shattered. Ren, please, let me explain. What did he call you? Her voice rose, sharp with building panic. The guard looked confused. This is His Majesty King Theron Valdis, Alpha King of... Silence! Dane, no, Theron, snapped at the guard. Then softer to Lena. Please, just listen. But Lena was not listening. She was staring at his face, at his golden eyes, and suddenly everything made terrible, perfect sense. The Alpha presence, the military training, the old gold coin, the way every rogue instinctively lowered their eyes around him. Golden eyes. The phrase from 5 years ago echoed in her memory. The Alpha King killed him personally. Golden eyes and no mercy. You, she whispered. Her hands were shaking for an entirely different reason now. You are him, the Alpha King. You killed Finn. I can explain. You murdered my brother. The words ripped out of her like a scream. She launched herself at him, fists aimed at his face, his chest, anywhere she could reach. You killed him. You came here pretending to be someone else, pretending to care, and you are the monster who took everything from me. The guard moved to intercept her, but Theron threw out an arm, stopping him. Do not touch her, he commanded. Lena's fist connected with his jaw. He let her hit him, made no move to defend himself, just stood there and took it while she pounded her rage and grief against his chest. I trusted you, she sobbed. I told you about him, about Finn, and you just listened. You listened and you said nothing. You let me talk about my brother like you did not know, like you were not the one who... Her voice broke. The evidence was fabricated, Theron said urgently. I was lied to, Ren. Lena, your brother's case, the testimony, all of it was falsified by a corrupt council member. I have proof. Finn Carver was innocent, and I executed an innocent man because I trusted the wrong people. She stared at him. And that makes it better? That you were too stupid or too blind to see the truth? That just makes it worse. I know. You destroyed my life. She was shaking so hard her teeth chattered. Everything I lost, everything I've had to become, it is all because of you. Because you killed my brother without even bothering to verify if he deserved to die. I know, he said again. His voice was wrecked. I know, and I will spend the rest of my life trying to make it right, but I need you to understand. I understand perfectly. She backed away from him until she hit the bar. You came here to investigate, to find evidence so you could shut down my bar, arrest everyone here, and you found your mate instead. The laugh that came out of her was sharp as glass. The moon has a sick sense of humor. That is not why I stayed. Theron moved toward her. Yes, I came to investigate. But the moment I saw you, the moment the bond hit, everything changed. I stayed because I could not leave. I stayed because being near you made me feel like maybe I could be better than what I was. You stayed because of a bond you had no choice about. I stayed because of you. His voice cracked. Because you are brave and fierce, and you have built something beautiful out of ashes. Because watching you care for people everyone else abandoned made me realize how broken the system I uphold really is. Lena pressed her hands flat against the bar behind her, needing the solid surface to keep from falling. My brother built this bar with me. Every night I open these doors, I am honoring his memory. He died because of you, and now you are asking me to what? Forgive you? Accept this bond? Pretend any of this is okay? I am not asking for forgiveness. Theron's hands curled into fists at his sides. I am asking for a chance to prove that I can change what happened, to fix the system that killed your brother and countless others. You cannot fix this. Her voice broke on the words. You cannot bring Finn back. You cannot give me back 5 years of running and hiding and building a life in the shadows. You cannot unmake what you did. I know. He took a step closer. But I can make sure it never happens again. I can reform the laws. I can root out the corruption. I can make his death mean something. His death already means something. It means you are a murderer with a crown. She felt tears on her face and hated them. I reject the bond. Do you hear me? I reject it. I want nothing to do with you. I want you out of my life. The moment the words left her mouth, pain exploded in her chest. Not the dull ache from before. This was sharp and violent, like something vital tearing apart. She gasped and doubled over. Across the room, Theron made a sound like he had been gutted. He fell to his knees, one hand pressed to his chest. The guards moved forward, but he waved them back. Get out, he rasped. All of you, leave us. Your Majesty, you need medical. That is an order. The guards fled. Lena slid down the bar to the floor, unable to stand through the pain that radiated from her core outward. Every breath was agony. Every heartbeat felt wrong. Theron crawled toward her until they were feet apart, both of them broken on the floor. Lena, he whispered, I am so sorry. For all of it. I am so sorry. She wanted to scream at him, wanted to tell him sorry meant nothing. But the pain stole her voice, left her gasping and shaking, and wishing she had never met him, never felt this impossible bond that was now destroying her from the inside out. I will leave, he said. I will stay away. Whatever you need. But please, please do not die because of me. One Carver death on my conscience is already more than I can bear. He stood, moving like every motion hurt, and walked toward the stairs. She watched him go through tears and agony, and some part of her, the part connected to that bond, screamed at her to call him back. She bit her tongue until she tasted blood, and said nothing. The door closed. Lena curled into herself on the floor of her bar and let the pain take her. 2 weeks. 14 days of pain that turned her body into a battlefield where every breath was a negotiation with agony. Iris had moved into the storage room, refusing to leave Lena alone. She brought water when Lena could keep it down, held her hair when she could not. The older woman did not ask questions, did not offer platitudes. She just stayed, a steady presence in the darkness that threatened to swallow everything. On the morning of the 15th day, Iris shook Lena awake. You need to see this. Lena forced herself upright, her body protesting every movement. Iris had a laptop open. the screen showing a news site. It wasn't a human news outlet. It was a shifter bulletin, internal, encrypted, kept out of human eyes. The headline made Lena's vision blur. Alpha King executes senior counselor for corruption. The article detailed charges of evidence fabrication, bribery, conspiracy to commit judicial murder. The counselor's name was Gregor Hartford. He had served the crown for 30 years. And yesterday, the Alpha King had personally executed him in the same court where Finn had died. "Keep reading," Iris said quietly. The article went on. Systematic review of all rogue convictions from the past decade. Amnesty for those falsely accused. Investigations into regional alphas suspected of abusing authority. The Alpha King himself had announced the reforms in a public address, his voice steady as he admitted the system had failed, that innocent people had died because he had trusted the wrong advisors. He had not mentioned Lena, had not said Finn's name, but she knew. This was for her brother, for all the Finns who had fallen through the cracks. "There is more," Iris said. She handed Lena a package wrapped in brown paper. "This arrived an hour ago, no return address." Inside were documents, hundreds of pages. Lena's hands shook as she opened the first file and saw Finn's name across the top. Evidence logs, witness testimonies, interrogation transcripts. All of it falsified, according to the notes in the margins written in precise handwriting she did not recognize. This page, fabricated. This witness coerced. This confession obtained through torture. She turned pages with numb fingers, reading her brother's final hours in clinical detail. They had beaten him, threatened to kill Lena if he did not confess. He had held out for 3 days before signing a statement admitting to crimes he had never committed. His last words, according to the execution record, had been, "Protect my sister." A sealed shifter record, witnessed, archived, and buried from the human world. Lena pressed her hand to her mouth, holding back the sound that wanted to escape. Finn had thought of her, had spent his final breath hoping someone would keep her safe. At the bottom of the stack was a letter. No signature, but she recognized the handwriting from the margin notes. "I do not ask for forgiveness. I do not deserve it. But Finn Carver deserved truth. He deserved justice. He deserved life. I cannot give him any of those things. What I can do is make certain his death and the deaths of those like him never happen again. The system will be reformed. Your bar will operate legally. Documentation is enclosed. Resources will be provided monthly. I will never contact you again unless you wish it. But know that every change I make, every law I reform, every corrupt alpha I remove, I do in memory of a man who died protecting children. Your brother was brave. He was good. And I will spend the rest of my life trying to be worthy of the lesson his death taught me." The letter blurred as tears filled her eyes. She read it again. Then, a third time. "He was 24, Iris said softly. "When he executed Finn." I looked it up. His father had died 6 months earlier, assassinated in a coup attempt. The new king was young, inexperienced, surrounded by counselors who had served his father for decades. He trusted them. That does not excuse what he did. No. Iris sat beside her. But it explains it. And the question you need to ask yourself is this: can you separate the boy who made a terrible mistake from the man who is trying to fix it? Lena spent 3 days reading every page in that package, learning details about her brother's final hours that broke her heart and put pieces back together simultaneously, seeing evidence of systematic corruption that went back decades, understanding that Theron had inherited a broken system and trusted the wrong people to help him fix it. On the 4th day, she woke to pain so severe she could not get out of bed. Her heart beat irregularly, skipping beats that made her vision darken. Iris was there immediately, her face pale with fear. "This is killing you," the older woman said. "The bond rejection. You have days at most." "He is suffering too." Lena knew it with absolute certainty, could feel it through the connection they both kept trying to sever. "We are dying together. Then stop dying. Iris gripped her hand. I watched your brother die because he could not walk away from what was right. Do not make me watch you die because you cannot walk toward it. Toward what? Survival, healing, a chance at something better than this pain. Iris's eyes were fierce. Finn would not want this for you. He would want you to live. The truth of it settled into Lena's bones. Finn had died hoping someone would protect her. And here she was, killing herself over pride and pain that, while justified, would not bring him back. She made the decision then, not to forgive, not to forget, but to survive. Help me up, she said. I need to go to the palace. The guards at the gate tried to stop her. Lena did not have the strength to argue, just stood there swaying until one of them recognized her from the bar raid 2 weeks ago. He went pale and ran inside. 5 minutes later, Theron appeared. He looked as destroyed as she felt, thinner, shadows under his eyes that spoke of sleepless nights. His golden eyes locked on her, and something like anguish crossed his face. You should not be here, he said. His voice was rough, barely used. You should be resting. I am dying. The words came out flat. We both are. The bond does not care about justice or fairness. It just is. He nodded slowly. I know. So we need to talk. Somewhere private. He led her through the palace to a garden hidden behind high walls. It was beautiful in a way that hurt, all carefully tended roses and stone paths. They sat on a bench surrounded by flowers that smelled like peace. I do not forgive you, Lena said. The words needed to be clear. I may never forgive you for Finn. That pain is mine to carry, and it does not disappear just because you are trying to make amends. I understand. But Finn spent his last breath asking someone to protect me, and letting myself die because I am too proud to accept this bond is not what he would have wanted. She turned to face Theron fully. You are trying to fix what was broken. The reforms, the investigations, shutting down corrupt alphas. That matters. It does not erase what happened, but it means something. Theron's hands were clenched on his knees. I will work every day for the rest of my life to honor your brother's memory, to build a system where what happened to him can never happen again. I know. She took a breath. So here is what I propose. We accept the bond, not reject it, not fight it. Just accept that it exists. And then nothing. I keep my bar. I keep my autonomy. You implement your reforms. We meet as needed to coordinate efforts, nothing more. If in a year the system has actually improved, if your changes are real and lasting, then maybe we reconsider what this bond means. But right now, we survive. That is all I can offer. That is more than I deserve. His voice cracked slightly. You are giving me a chance I have no right to ask for. I am not doing this for you. I am doing it because dying accomplishes nothing, and living means I can help more people. People like Finn who need someone to fight for them. Then I accept your terms. He shifted to face her, his expression solemn. You have my word. Your bar operates as you see fit. Your autonomy remains absolute. I will report to you monthly on reform progress. And I will not ask for anything more than your survival. Good. She held out her hand. Then we accept the bond. Together. His hand enveloped hers, warm and solid and alive. The moment their skin connected, Lena felt the bond shift. Not disappear. Not soften into something comfortable. But stabilize, like a broken bone finally set properly. The pain that had lived in her chest for 2 weeks eased. Not gone, but manageable. Her heartbeat steadied. Her breathing deepened. Across from her, color returned to Theron's face, his shoulders losing some of their rigid tension. Better? He asked quietly. Better. They sat in silence, hands still joined, neither quite ready to let go. Eventually, Lena pulled away, standing on legs that felt stronger than they had in days. I should go. The bar opens tonight. Lena. He stood too. Thank you for giving me this chance. She looked at him. at the man who had killed her brother and was now trying to rebuild the world that had made that killing possible. "Do not waste it," she said, "because if this is just words, if nothing actually changes, this bond will not be strong enough to stop me from walking away. I know. I will not fail you. Do not fail them. The rogues, the people who have no one else." She turned to leave, then paused. "And Theron? My brother's name was Finn Carver. When you make these changes, when you announce new laws or dismantle corrupt systems, I want you to say his name. I want people to know who you are doing this for. I will." His voice was thick with emotion. "I promise." 6 months later, Lena stood in a hearing room in the Capitol, her voice steady as she testified on behalf of rogues seeking amnesty. She had done this 12 times in the past 4 months, helping 47 people reclaim their lives. The bar had been renamed Finn's Hollow, an official sanctuary for rogues transitioning back to recognized status. Iris managed daily operations, allowing Lena to spend more time on advocacy work. And Theron had kept his word. 12 major reforms implemented, 8 regional alphas removed for corruption, monthly reports delivered personally, their meetings extending from brief updates to longer conversations where they actually talked about things beyond policy. She still had not forgiven him, was not certain she ever could. But she was starting to understand him. To see the man behind the crown who was trying, genuinely trying, to be better than what he had been. Tonight, he was visiting the bar, not as Dane, not in disguise, just as himself. Lena was wiping down the counter when he arrived. The regulars glanced up, recognized him, and went back to their drinks. They knew the story by now, knew what he was trying to build. He sat at the bar, the same seat he had occupied as Dane. "Whiskey? We still only have one kind." "I remember." She poured the drink and set it in front of him. Their fingers brushed as he took the glass, and for the first time since that terrible night more than a month after they met, she did not pull away immediately. Just let the contact linger for a heartbeat longer. He noticed. She saw it in the way his breath caught, the way hope flickered across his face before he carefully controlled his expression. "The Brennan case went through today," he said. "Full amnesty, family reunited." "I heard." She leaned against the counter. "That is 23 this month." 24. One more came through this afternoon. He took a sip of whiskey. "I am starting a program. Education and job placement for newly amnestied rogues. I wanted to run it by you first." "Why?" "Because you understand what they need better than I ever will." She studied his face. 6 months of working himself to exhaustion showed in new lines around his eyes. But there was something else too. Peace, maybe. Or purpose. "Send me the proposal. I will review it." "Thank you." They talked for another hour. Policy and cases, and the logistics of rebuilding broken systems. But beneath it, something else. The beginning of trust. Fragile as new ice, but real. When he finally stood to leave, Lena found herself speaking before she could stop. "Finn would have liked what you are doing, the reforms, the way you are actually listening to people instead of just ruling them." Theron went very still. Then, softly, "Then I am on the right path." He left. Lena stood in her bar, Finn's bar, and felt something shift in her chest. Not forgiveness, not yet, but the possibility of it. The understanding that healing was not forgetting, but rather learning to carry the pain without letting it destroy you. Outside, dawn was breaking. Inside, people who had nowhere else to go were finding safety. And somewhere in the space between those two truths, Lena found she could breathe a little easier. The bond hummed quietly beneath her ribs, present but not painful. A reminder that some things could not be undone, only accepted.